Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're doing a Champions League roundup. I'm joined by Luis Miguel Echegaray. I said it good behind stage, but now I got nervous. LME from the Que Golazo Podcast. Personally, my favorite podcast to listen to. They cover every league. They go in super depth and detail. You guys should definitely listen to it. So we're going to do something kind of similar on my channel. And thank you so much for joining me, LME.
Absolutely, Elizabeth. I'm so happy to be here. Your intro, by the way, is awesome. Made me feel so good and sunny and happy inside. I love it.
Thank you. Somebody made the intro for me, and they found the song, and they were like, "This reminds me of you." I was like, "This is my personality in a song." So
they're
thank
right
you so
on point.
much.
They're right on point. Excellent stuff.
And then somebody else sent me a video of that song being played at the DMV. So
that's probably why it's there, right? Because everybody's so depressed. They need something like that.
Exactly. So there is plenty of Champions League action to talk about. I'm still recovering from the game last night. As you know, I'm a massive Chelsea fan and my heart is still broken. I typically sleep fine after games, actually. But last night I woke up at 5 a.m. just really upset about the game still, which doesn't usually happen. But let's maybe talk about some of the other games first, and then we'll go into the Chelsea games. So the first game that I wanted to talk to you about, Benfica versus Liverpool, really no surprises there. 1-3. I predicted a 2-0 to Liverpool, so same score difference. But what did you think about this match?
Yeah, like you said, Elizabeth, I don't think there was many people, I think, that would have been surprised by that result. I think you predicting 2-0 is right on the money, even though it was 3-1, a 2-goal differential, as you said. I said it was going to be 2-1. But obviously, listen, the firepower of Liverpool is just too much against a Benfica side who, by the way, you know, are not going to win the Portuguese title. They're pretty much far off it. It must be said, though, and I said this on HQ during our preview, that Benfica have gone through a lot this season. It began with their president resigning due to, allegations of tax fraud and money laundering. Jorge Jesus, the manager, left by mutual consent in December. There's been just a lot going on with Benfica. And to put all that pressure on just a player like Darwin Núñez, fantastic Uruguayan striker, it's just too much. They have a lot of talent, but Liverpool is just basically from the plethora of strength that they have all the way from the Premier League as well, with their pedigree in the Champions League. It was pretty much, as you mentioned, an expected result. And I think that when they come back in the second leg, it should be game done, dusted at Anfield.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was even contemplating ahead of this match was, well, how much are Liverpool really going to put into it, knowing that they have to face City at the weekend? I believe it is away from home as well.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe even we're going to see them kind of hold back a bit. But one of the great things about Liverpool, I think, is just the players that they buy are so... They slot right into this Liverpool side. So we see Luis Diaz is taking off. He scored another goal as well. What did you make of Mohamed Salah? Another goalless performance for him.
Yeah, this is a good question. It's something that we've been talking about on Que Golazo, and I brought up the insane question. I know that Liverpool fans will probably get angry at me for this, but whether Salah should start against Man City this weekend in the first place. He hasn't scored a goal from open play since mid-February. It's clear that the contractual issues that are going on within himself and the club are lingering in his head. There's still no agreement over the extension and that new deal. Of course, him losing in the Africa Cup of Nations and then losing again to his teammate and an opponent in Africa, Senegal, Egypt, out of the World Cup. I think a lot is going on with Salah, and maybe he needs to take a little break. I mean, obviously Jurgen Klopp knows him better than me, but I do think that there is such a thing, to your point, in utilizing all the strengths that Liverpool has. In that game against Benfica, you had Salah on one side, Sadio Mane and Luis Diaz, as you said. I think Jonathan Johnson said it earlier today, and I think I agree that maybe in that Champions League game, Salah probably should have been benched and just, come in later on, with all due respect to Benfica, given the fact that Man City is a stronger opponent. Listen, we all know what Mohamed Salah is, what he's given to the Premier League, what he's given to the game. Clearly one of the best players in the world. but there is such a thing as fatigue, and there is such a thing as like maybe mental fatigue as both as physical. And I think that when you have all these players, as you mentioned, including, by the way, Diogo Jota, who didn't even start, it's fair to say a question like, should he maybe get a little rest? That probably should have happened in this Benfica game. And I asked it again in the Man City one. So we'll have to see how that develops. But make no mistake about it, he'll overturn this, of course, and he'll get back to his best, because at the end of the day, even Salah at 40% is better than most players at 100%. So, I think Liverpool fans should be happy about the fact that eventually, sooner rather than later, specifically this weekend, Mohamed Salah should be able to come and do the business.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point that you make, that maybe he should have actually been rested for this easier match, that if he didn't play, Liverpool still have great attacking talents that can get the job done. They were playing away as well, so they still get to go back to Anfield at home. I think I would be surprised at least if he doesn't start versus Man City. But let's see. Is there any possible way for Benfica to get back into this tie?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I mean, I think had it been 2-1, and listen, I got to give Benfica a lot of credit in the second half, who did the opposite of what Diego Simeone and Atleti did. I know the Diego Simeone strategy, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, but at the very least, Benfica said, you know what, let's just keep going at them and see if we can do something. And of course, the Konate mistake allowed Darwin Núñez to get that goal. But I think with a 2-goal margin and the fact that Liverpool are at home. And yes, of course, there's a tricky fixture this weekend that precedes that. So you could say, well, Benfica, all they need to do, if they just keep a clean sheet in the first half and get a goal, maybe. But I just think Liverpool are just too strong, too good. And listen, it's no fault of their own. The Premier League is the richest league in the world. Liverpool, one of the strongest teams out there. Nobody predicted Benfica to be in the quarterfinals in the first place. So, Benfica obviously are going to hope, listen, let's try and keep it close. Let's maybe keep a clean sheet and score a goal in the first half and see what happens. But no, I think Liverpool has this one wrapped up.
That makes sense. I'm just looking at the light. I apologize, guys, because the sun is directly setting on my face right now.
No, I like it. It's good. It's like your theme song opening up to you, Elizabeth.
So I have kind of a weird lighting situation here. I apologize. But you mentioned the Man City Atlético game, so let's move on to that one. Were you expecting this type of tactic from Diego Simeone, where I have seen reports that it was a 5-5-0 because of the amount of players that were behind the ball? Essentially, You didn't have so many attacking players either. No shots on target either. Was that what you were expecting going into this match?
I was expecting a resilient Atlético Madrid. I was expecting a defensively minded Atlético Madrid, just because historically I know that Diego Simeone, when he faces Pep Guardiola, at the very least, he wants to disrupt and just wait and react to whatever Guardiola is offering. I go back to that 2016 game when his Atlético were facing Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich. But no, I thought there would be at the very least a little bit more into it. Having said that, they nearly got the job done, Elizabeth. I mean, it could have been a stalemate until Phil Foden produced some great magic. Atleti, unfortunately, due to the minutes and the legs getting tired, switched off, and then Kevin De Bruyne scored that goal. But Simeone nearly had it. And I will say that on paper, statistically, as we look to the second leg, it's not a terrible result for Atleti. They're only down by a goal. And now they're going to go to Wanda Metropolitano and hope for a result. And all they need is just one goal. Just get that goal and then you're back in it. So it's not, having said all that, you mentioned a very important fact here. A 5-5-0 formation is not something that's exaggerative, I think. And also the fact that they didn't have a single shot, never mind on target. So they're going to have to do more here. My friend and colleague Michael Lahoud mentioned that maybe Luis Suarez should start from the get-go. We will see. But I think you need even more than Luis Suarez. You need to be a little bit more courageous when you have the ball. I think Hector Herrera not being in that midfield hurt them, because he can be kind of an annoyance in that midfield, and maybe that could have helped. But honestly, on paper, Diego Simeone is probably looking at this and thinking, look, I know that we really didn't offer much in Manchester, but we're only a goal down. We're only a goal down. And if we can just, focus on the strategy and maybe get that goal, maybe it can happen. But again, if you're asking me to predict right now, I think Man City will be more than ready and they should get the job done. But 1-0 is a very thin margin.
Exactly. That's the point that I made in my video, is that, you know, going into this, I think Diego Simeone was going for a 0-0. That's kind of what his goal was. But he's not going to be so upset, I don't feel, with a 1-0, because they held Man City to just a 1-goal lead. They only had 2 shots on target in this match. They know that they're playing at home in the Wanda Metropolitano in the next fixture. And like you said, they just need to get one goal, and that's it. I will say, though, or I'll pose this question rather, do you think that since there are no away goals, that might have affected how Simeone approached this, knowing that he didn't need to score any away goal? He could afford to just sit back.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good question. I mean, Simeone always thinks about every possible situation, and one of them that is obviously a big factor in this season in the Champions League is the fact that there's no away goal advantage. So he could easily just be, look, let's just leave Manchester with our heads high and not having conceded. They did concede a goal, so the advantage clearly is with Manchester City. So I think that he's probably looming that. But listen, 1-0, and the stat that you just gave with Man City really not actually producing that much against Oblak, 1-0 is really nothing. It's really, really nothing. So I think that Atleti can go into this and think, we just need to provide a little bit more from an offensive standpoint. Having said all that, I need to see a complete 180 in many ways, because I didn't see anything from Atlético Madrid that will make me think, yeah, you can get a goal in the first place. That's why I think Man City should feel good. Now, if Guardiola overthinks this once again, then that might be an issue. But, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And we'll also have to see how, battle-ridden they are after the Liverpool game, because that's a big game for them.
Yeah, and I think it also depends, right? Like that could be the season decider or the league decider, that
Definitely.
match.
Yeah.
So that could perhaps play to Atletico's advantage. I had to move because I was burning up. It's not even that hot out, but I feel like I'm getting burnt.
Oh, no, well, now it's fine. Now you're good. Now you're good.
Yeah, I'm much better now. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm going to be at that game. So I'm
amazing.
excited to see how that unfolds. I did think that Atletico executed their game plan perfectly versus United. Obviously, they are completely different sides of the spectrum of Manchester, but I think that they do have something, and I just have this gut feeling that they do have something in them that perhaps they can make it happen at home. Maybe it's going to be a tall order. Let's see.
Indeed. Yes.
Moving on to another Spanish team, Villarreal versus Bayern Munich. I was shocked at this one, LME. Did you see this coming at all?
No, I didn't see a Villarreal win. I think I predicted a Bayern Munich win, a thin one, a 2-1, but I didn't see it. But I'm not surprised. I'm honestly not surprised. I'm surprised at how lethargic Bayern Munich were, especially in the first half. I know that the Masters have started. I feel like they were actually on the golf course, really just like strolling around. It was a bit weird to me, but Unai Emery took full advantage. And, I actually think that Unai Emery will probably look at this game and rue the fact that they didn't score more than one. And that's what worries me about the second leg, because Bayern Munich in Munich are going to be angry, are going to be ready, are going to be looking back at tape, and Julian Nagelsmann is going to say to themselves, we got to be way better in every single category, and Bayern Munich will react. And I think that Villarreal, El Submarino Amarillo, is probably going to be disappointed at the fact that it was just 1-0. I mean, Moreno hit the post. There was that one where Neuer made a mistake, and he did that tremendous attempt that just went off wide in the bottom right. There was just so many opportunities. I think that Villarreal could have had to make it 2-0 at the very least. And I think that going into Germany with just a one goal lead will probably not be enough. I'm such a supporter of this club. They're so great, humble, small in terms of population and infrastructure, but so big with pride and creativity. And Unai Emery, a historic moment for him being in the quarterfinals for the first time in his career in the Champions League. Arnaud Danjuma, who's a friend of Que Golazo, by the way, he's amazing. And obviously I would love to see them progress, but I don't know, Elizabeth. Bayern Munich at home is it's a lot to deal with, especially when you're just leading by a goal.
And that's what I was even posing this question. Could Bayern go out in the round of 16, but then they completely shut me up and won 7-1. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them just come out of the floodgates after this match, because they're going to feel like they really have something to prove. Like you said, I kind of got I felt bad for Villarreal because they did have so many opportunities. They were so close, and they're probably going to be ruining those chances. But I want to kind of get a prediction here. What do you think is going to happen in Munich?
I think it's going to be tight for the first 45 minutes, but I think Villarreal is going to weather the storm a little bit. I think Bayern Munich will score in that first half, and I think it will continue to be a situation where the narrative falls more with Bayern controlling the game and Villarreal hoping for the counter and being organized off the ball. But I think ultimately Bayern Munich will take this because of the reasons I said earlier. I don't think you're going to see the same performance that you saw of Bayern Munich in the first leg in the second. I think they're going to be a little bit more awake. I was surprised Leon Goretzka didn't start. I think he probably will in this one. Thomas Müller will be more active. And of course, we haven't even talked about Robert Lewandowski, who I'm sure at home is going to be really raring to go. And as much as I want to see Villarreal go through, I think it's a Bayern Munich win.
Yeah. I feel like they should be super proud of themselves, at least for the performance that they did put in, because it surprised a lot of people. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, them here in the first place, Elizabeth, is amazing.
Exactly.
I think. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're just going to grow from this. Moving on, unfortunately for me.
Oh no, it's come that time, has it?
That time has come. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. No, sorry, Chelsea versus Real Madrid.
Well, and you live in Madrid, Elizabeth, so like it's a little tough for you now. I'm sure there's a lot of Madridistas very happy today, and you have to like kind of keep your head down like this.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like trying not to go outside because I can't stand to see people happy.
You're a true football fan. I love it.
But, well, going into this match, what did you make of it? Because to give you my perspective, I thought, well, 4-1 loss against Brentford, it's a blip. That's fine. We played a back four. We don't typically play it back four. Thomas Tuchel was preparing for this Real Madrid match. But then the match came. I just felt we looked super, super untidy defensively. What did you make of it?
Yep, exactly that. I think, listen, it's a little worrying. I mean, if we remember last season, Chelsea had a little blip like this. It was a loss to Watford, but then they woke themselves up again and collected themselves. That didn't happen this time. In fact, it was just as bad, if not worse. Obviously, Real Madrid, with all due respect to Brentford, are a stronger side, but 7 goals in 2 games is worrying. Listen, I think there's a lot of context that needs to be added to Chelsea right now. I think the off-the-field situations like the Abramovich sanctions are still weighing in their heads, I think. That can't be an easy thing for Thomas Tuchel to deal with. The team itself obviously has that knocking around their minds, but I think tactically, and he admitted it, Tuchel got this wrong, like really wrong. Defensively is the issue, because in the first 50 games under Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea, you guys had 31 clean sheets. Okay, that's like a statement saying, okay, we may not wow you with 3-0, 4-0, but we're not gonna let you score. That's not what's happening recently, and that's worrying. And then when I see the starting formation with a 3-5-2 against a Real Madrid side who on one side has Vinicius Jr., Ancelotti was excellent in having Valverde on the other wing, and then Karim Benzema, who's, the best number 9 in the world. He's not just somebody that's central. He's going to cause havoc all day long, as we saw last night. It just wasn't the right tactics. And obviously he made a few adjustments in the halftime, but it was already too late by then, even with the comeback goal from Kai Havertz. It was uncharacteristic of Thomas Tuchel to think like this from a defensive standpoint. And had it been 2-1 at the end of the game, I probably would have been like, listen, you can go to the Bernabeu and do something. I'm sorry to say, I'm not so sure with that 2-goal differential. I do think it'll be a better performance from Chelsea. I just don't know if you have 2 goals in you to send it to extra time and also not concede. Because right now, Thomas Tuchel said it himself, forget the Bernabeu. We got to focus in Southampton, because if we play like that again at the Bernabeu, we're going to get hammered. And that, I feel, is going to happen unless some big changes happen.
Well, it's interesting to hear you say that you thought that Tuchel got the tactics wrong, because for me, going into this, when I saw the starting 11, at least, the only kind of tactical question mark I had was, why is Kovacic not starting when he was rested against Brentford? And you can argue N'Golo Kante hasn't had the best of seasons. He had a really poor first half performance, but I think like there's always this hope that N'Golo Kante is going to pull out a masterclass. So other than that, I really would not have made like so many changes. I didn't think that Christensen was going to get so annihilated by Vinicius Jr. as he did.
Really? As soon as I saw that, Elizabeth, I thought, my God. The reason why I think he got it wrong was because when you have a Real Madrid trio like this, where it's Vinicius Jr. causing havoc, he didn't even have his best game, and he was very dangerous, you know? And you have Karim Benzema on one side, and then whoever on the right side, whether that's Asensio or Valverde from the night. When it's 3 against 3 like that, against a Benzema who doesn't just stay central, you get lost. You get misproportioned, and you could see it. In fact, I believe it was the second goal, that beautiful second header from Karim Benzema. Christensen is looking at Thiago Silva pointing fingers. Thiago Silva's pointing fingers at Christensen, and they're both saying, who has him? And that's always a problem when you just have a 3 center back situation. And when one of them has to be like pushed away to sort of chase Vinicius Jr., which obviously he was the creator of the first goal, assisting Karim Benzema. So that's why I thought tactically he got it wrong. And Tuchel said it himself at the end of the game. Now, you know, can you change it at the Bernabeu? Of course you can, but 2 goals, it's just, it might be too hard, especially at home with that Bernabeu crowd, like, you know, going all against you. I don't know. And also, we haven't even talked about Romelu Lukaku, Elizabeth. What did you think of his? I mean, 26 minutes clearly is not enough, but only 4 touches. It's not good these days.
Yeah. I understand why Lukaku didn't start. I've been understanding why Lukaku hasn't been starting. Kai Havertz has been phenomenal, in my opinion. I think he has 5 goals in his last 6 games. So he's really keeping Lukaku out of the team. Whenever Lukaku does play, he doesn't really fill me with any confidence that he's going to score. It just seems like there's this disjoint between how he plays and his style of play. I think that he likes to have the ball fed to him, maybe play with his back a bit, turn, have a little bit more space. You're not going to really get that. He always has a couple of defenders on him, and I just don't see him doing all that much. Even the header that he got that he missed, if that was Benzema, it would have gone in.
100%.
I just thought that it was really a poor from him. So when he was coming on, I was like, I understand why you're bringing him on. He's a striker. But I'm kind of at the point where I'm not super filled with confidence with the recent performances that Lukaku has had.
Yeah, and I will just quickly, and the excellent points there. The only one thing I will also add is, like, I don't think it's 100% his fault, because I think that the way the system works with Thomas Tuchel doesn't favor a lone striker like that in that way. That's why Kai Havertz is doing so well, because he's so mobile. I remember there was a specific moment yesterday where Chelsea had the ball entering Real Madrid's half, and Lukaku's in the center, and he's pointing like, go wide, because he wants that crossing. Chelsea doesn't go wide. They go like 1, 2, 3 passes. I think it's, Jorginho, I guess, who takes a shot. It goes straight into the hands of Courtois, and there goes another, pace, rhythm of the game, a segment of the game where Lukaku doesn't get a touch. And I think that's just been the continuous issue the whole time. Lukaku's pointing, look, go wide so you can feed me. And it's just not happening. At Inter, it was totally different. Like, he's going to get that productivity. So it's not totally his fault that, but yes, a lot of it is his fault. There's a lot of, I think, a lack of confidence, I guess. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he'll overturn it, but time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, when he first rejoined Chelsea, the first 2 games he scored, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, he's scoring goals. And the more that it's gone on, it's just felt like maybe it just wasn't the right fit, that Chelsea spent a lot of money on somebody who didn't necessarily fit the system. And I feel like it's asking a lot of Thomas Tuchel to change the entire system that he built just to fit in one player, even despite the price point. Going into this reverse fixture, obviously going to be extremely difficult. I'm not feeling super confident that Chelsea are going to overturn it.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. If we score the first goal, I think we could be on.
Yeah.
If they score, it's over.
Yeah. The key is the first goal. Yeah.
Exactly. You mentioned kind of that the tactics were wrong in the back line. Who would you play? Because for me personally, Marcos Alonso has not been having a good season either, and I was very nervous to think of him playing against the likes of Valverde or Benzema. And we've seen in the Premier League he's gotten spun out quite a few times. So what would kind of be your preferred back line there?
Well, I would remove the 3 center back choice. So regardless of who you start, like I just don't think 3 at the back is going to help you against a Madrid side that focuses so much on Karim Benzema. If I look at your squad, yeah, I mean, you know better than me as you cover the club to much a stronger degree. But I would say that if there's a possibility of getting something out of Marcos Alonso, then I would do a 4 at the back, and then, or at the very least, have a situation where if you have, 2 center backs, then you have Reece James on one side and then another wing back on the other one. And then you sort of, at the very least, are protecting, both sides of the wing, because otherwise Vinicius Jr. is just going to give Christensen a headache the entire game. And also to your point, I mean, kind of the same question about Salah, right? N'Golo Kante, we love him. Everybody loves him, but he hasn't had a good season, So are you asking too much of him once again to produce magic in a very important game? Do you rethink that? I think obviously you leave Kai Havertz, you leave Mason Mount, but I'm looking at your bench, and are there players here that can maybe do something? Is Timo Werner up for something in this situation? Does Kovacic start from the get-go? Hakim Ziyech? I don't know. I just know that 3 center backs against this trio of Real Madrid is not going to work.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we have consistently played with that back 3, back 5. So I would have never thought to play a back 4 against Real Madrid, because
and I'm sure it's not going to happen. But
we played the back 4 versus Brentford and they scored 4 goals. Like, I thought that it wasn't working. But then Thomas Tuchel did change to a back 4 in the second half. I thought it looked better, to your credit. And I felt that we just missed the opportunity to even get back into the game because of conceding that really silly goal that we absolutely gifted, which is such a shame, because I feel like that was the tie. That was
uncharacteristic of Edouard Mendy to do that, obviously. So it was just a lapse of concentration, and it happens. But like you said, at the worst time possible. Yeah.
Yep. I was like, at least could have happened in the 70th minute after we had given it a bit of a go and seeing if the tactics worked. But maybe we will see a back 4.
Maybe.
Are Chelsea getting back into it? Is there any hope?
There is hope. It's only a 2-goal, separation. The problem is that, and the advantage once again is that there's no away goal ruling, so it doesn't matter whether they score 3. Now, had the away goal advantage counted, then maybe this is a longer conversation. But all you need is 2 goals to be in it. I think you said it already. You need whoever scores the first goal in this game, gets the advantage. So if Chelsea can keep it at 1-0 at halftime and they score, game on. I mean, absolutely game on. But you cannot concede. Definitely not in the first 45 minutes. So you always have a chance. I'm going, my head says Real Madrid, but for you, Elizabeth, I'm hoping that Chelsea wake it up.
I hope so. I tell you, I have missed Ben Chilwell so much this season. I feel like if he was fit, we wouldn't be having these problems.
Very good point. Yeah,
because Aspie was rotated to that side because Alonso Tuchel didn't want Alonso starting because of whatever reasons, and then we had to play Christensen and Ben Chilwell. I hope that you get fit soon, please. Yeah. We really miss you over here.
I agree on the Bell Chilwell situation. Yep. Totally.
But LME, thank you so much for joining, for giving me half an hour. We went a little bit over the time that we agreed. I apologize, but it's been a fantastic chat. Thank you so much for joining. And if anybody doesn't know where they can find you, let them know where they can find you.
Absolutely. If you're watching, you see my Twitter name here, LME Echegaray. But like you mentioned, CBS Sports Que Golazo Pod on Twitter, youtube.com/Que Golazo. And it's a daily show, etc., and we cover it all. But I appreciate you inviting me here, and keep up the amazing work, Elizabeth. You're doing great stuff.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Guys, hope that you enjoyed this UCL recap. I'll be back with lots more content, so make sure to sub to the channel if you aren't already. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this. And until next time, I'm out. Bye.